every single day I would have these girls who would come in, these beautiful girls who I just looked at and thought the world of and thought they were so beautiful, but I noticed they would look in the mirrors and they would doubt themselves and they wouldn't see their true potential, their true divine beauty, and it made me sad for them. And so I kind of made it my mission in life as a teacher to help these girls understand their true potential and their true beauty, and I wanted them to find that. And so I did the lesson with some of these girls, and some of the girls went home and appreciated it, or liked it so much, I should say, that they asked me to come and talk to Girl Scout groups, and that turned into Young Women groups, and the word kind of spread. And so I have done this presentation several times to a bunch of different groups, and so that's why I told Megan I would love to come help. And then she responded with, well, it's for a Relief Society group. And I kind of got a little nervous, and I was like, well, I've actually never taught this to Relief Society, but I was talking to my mom about it, and she mentioned, well, she'd seen this presentation before, and she mentioned something like, older women need to hear this message just as much as these young girls and these young teens. And I thought about it for a while, and so I told Megan I would love to come help. With that being said, I'm so excited to be here, but I am a little nervous, so maybe we'll all just pretend that we're back in 8th grade. Junior high, PE helps, maybe that's good for some of you, maybe bad, I don't know, but maybe it will be a little better. So, what are we here to talk about tonight? We're going to talk about beauty. We're going to talk about how the world defines beauty and how we really should define beauty. So if you want to go to the next slide. To start off, I have these two favorite quotes. I love, love, love these quotes, and they're something that, they are something that I live by. They're kind of my life's motto. This first quote comes from Facebook, actually. I found it a few years ago on Facebook, and a friend had posted it, so I just wrote it down and tucked it away and held on to it, and then I ended up posting it in my locker room in my office for the girls to see every single day. So it just says this: when I was 5 years old, my mom told me that happiness was the key to life. When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wrote down happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them they didn't understand life. I think that we came from a happy place. We know we're returning to a happy place. So what better time now to prepare for that and find happiness and find joy? That goes hand in hand with this quote from President Hinckley that I also love, and it just says, in all of living, have much of fun and laughter. Life is to be enjoyed, not just endured. And perhaps some of you have heard that before. And in my current ward, I serve in the Young Women's, and we kind of have this unspoken rule that we don't talk about enduring to the end, but more so we talk about enjoying to the end and finding happiness now. And when I think about beauty, I think about happiness. And I sometimes think the terms are synonymous. If someone is beautiful, they're happy. If someone's happy, they are beautiful. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. To start off with, we're going to kind of talk about how the world views beauty, or how the world defines beauty. So there's this video I want to show you guys, and probably most of you have seen this video. It has millions of hits on YouTube. Oh, sorry. You're totally fine. Very quiet, please. Cameras rolling. And we're recording now. It's slated. Sounds great. Okay, so probably who in this room has never seen that? Are there people who haven't seen that? Oh, good. A lot of you haven't. Okay. I guess it's just different because I'm, come from the junior high where YouTube is just everyone's life. These videos are so viral. But anyways, I'm glad that was new to most of you. That's good. But so Dove, they have this campaign, and they recognize that we live in a world where our perception of beauty is a little distorted, and we hold ourselves to these standards that a lot of times aren't real. They're fake a lot of times. And because of that, they have this campaign that they're trying to do to encourage women to, find their true beauty, and they talk about where beauty comes from, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, you can go to the next slide. Okay. So, when we talk about worldly beauty, probably we talk about, or you guys might think of some of these things. The color of our hair, the clothes we wear, maybe even where we buy our clothes from, the stores we shop in. Money, how much money do people have? Friends on Facebook, how many friends do you have on Facebook? The shapes of our bodies, say going back to the clothes, a lot of people think beauty comes from the size of clothes we wear. And I think all of this could be summed into what I like to call the plastic standard. I had a good friend in high school. His name is Kevin Bell. Maybe some of you know the Bells. They're in this stake. His mom passed away a few years ago from a brain tumor. Super sad. But anyways, Kevin, he was such a good kid, and he's super talented. He writes music, and he plays his guitar and sings these songs that he writes. And he wrote this song called This Plastic Standard, and he talks about these young girls who walk around in this world and they think this is what makes them beautiful, and they don't see their own inner beauty, their own divine potential, like we're going to talk about. And it was sad to him, so he wrote this song about it. Going back to this Dove campaign. So Dove, they posted that first video I just showed you guys a minute ago, and they got so many hits with that video, they kind of continued on with this experiment, and they did a study. And they found, based off the statistics from this study, they found that they believe only 4% of women in the entire world would define themselves as beautiful, or would call themselves beautiful, which means we live in a world where 96% of women walk around not realizing their true beauty or not seeing their full potential. And so Dove continued on with this, and they did kind of an experiment. And there's another video I want to show you that comes from Dove. This one has just become more popular more recently, so maybe some of you have seen it. So I'll show you this video, and then we'll talk about it.
I always thought people were so cute when they have the little cheeks and they're like rosy, but mine are pretty plain. If I was going to change one feature about my face, I would say that I would want fuller lips. I'm definitely a person that looks tired when I'm tired, and when people say that, I immediately am like, oh man. I'm starting to already get little crow's feet and stuff, which like my mom had, so yeah.
I'm a forensic artist. I was trained at the FBI Academy in 1993 in composite art. Worked for the San Jose Police Department as the police artist from 1995 to 2011.
We didn't really know what we were doing, so that was nerve-wracking for everyone.
I showed up to a place I'd never been and walked into this big warehouse, and at the very end there was a guy with his back to me with a drafting board.
I had a curtain separating me so that I don't see. We'll begin. First of all, tell me about your hair.
Brown, long, I guess a little bit past my shoulders.
Your jaw.
My mom told me I had a big jaw.
Yeah, they're brown eyebrows, dark brown eyebrows.
Okay.
I didn't know what he was doing, but then I could tell after several questions that he was drawing me.
Tell me about your chin.
I guess I haven't really compared it to anyone else's chin, but especially when like I smile, I just feel like it kind of protrudes a little bit.
What would be your most prominent feature?
I kind of have a fat, rounder face.
The older I've gotten, the more freckles I've gotten.
You sort of realize, oh man, now I have to talk about myself and think about my looks. I'm 40, so I'm starting to get a little bit of the crow's feet thing going on.
Once I get a sketch, I say thank you very much, and then they leave. I don't see them.
I still didn't know. All I had been told before the sketch was to get friendly with this other woman, Chloe.
Today I'm going to ask you some questions about a person you met earlier, and I'm going to ask you some general questions about their face.
She was thin, so you could see her cheekbones. And her chin was a nice, thin
chin.
The women were really critical about moles or scars or things like that, and yet they were describing just a normal, beautiful person.
She had nice eyes. They lit up when she spoke and were very expressive.
The length of the nose, what is that like?
Short.
Short.
Yeah, cute nose.
Her face was fairly thin.
She had blue eyes, very nice blue eyes.
Okay. So this is your self-described image? And then somebody else described you in line with this sketch.
I have this whole thing about having dark circles and crow's feet around my eyes, and that was not part of the sketch at all that the stranger did. The stranger's was a little more like gentle.
It's really different.
Just very strange.
She looks closed off and fatter. She just looks kind of shut down. Sadder, too. The second one is more
Do
beautiful.
you think they're catching more of that from you?
Yeah, yeah. She looks more open and friendly and happy. I've come a long way in how I see myself, but I think I still have some way to go.
I have some work to do on myself.
Do you think you're more beautiful than you say?
Yeah. Yeah. Chloe's perception was so clearly different. Her picture looked like somebody I thought I would want to talk to and be friends with, like a happy, light, much younger, much brighter person. It's troubling. I should be more grateful of my natural beauty. It impacts the choices and the friends that we make, the jobs we apply for, how we treat our children. It impacts everything. It couldn't be more critical to your happiness.
Our self-perceptions are generally kind of harsh and unbecoming when really that's not how the world sees us. We spend a lot of time as women analyzing and trying to fix the things that aren't quite right, and we should spend more time appreciating the things that we do like.
So I love that video. I've seen it a few times and it still gives me chills every time I see that video. And I think we're ourselves, we are our harshest critics. And when other people look at us, they look in our eyes and they see our potential and they see our true beauty. This is something that a professor in college shared with me, and it really impacted me. So it's obviously a picture of a scale, and it just says up top, it's just a number, really. The number on this scale will not tell you what a great person you are, how much your friends and family love you, that you are kind, smart, funny, and amazing in ways numbers cannot define, that you have the power to choose happiness, your own self-worth. So we live in this world where, I'm going to pass these suckers around, by the way, so everyone take a sucker. If we run out, I have more. And this will come into play. Don't do anything with the suckers besides just take one for now. Like I said, they'll come into play in a minute. But Anyways, we live in a world where we think that beauty is defined on these physical things, these physical characteristics. Like I said, the clothes we wear, or the shape of our bodies, or a number on a scale. Like, that's silliness, that's crazy. I want to share with you a story that probably most of you have heard and you'll remember as soon as I share it. It comes from April 2011 General Conference, and this is something that Quentin L. Cook shared, and it has now been labeled as the parable of the purse. So probably much of you, or most of you, remember this. He is recounting, well, I'll just read it. He said, "When I was recently assigned to a conference in the Mission Viejo, California stake, I was touched by an account of their four-stake New Year's Eve youth dance. Following the dance, a purse was found with no outside identification. I share with you part of what Sister Monica Sedgwick, the young woman president in the Laguna stake, recorded. We didn't want to pry. This was someone's personal stuff. So we gingerly opened it and grabbed the first thing that was on top. Hopefully, it would identify her. It did, but in another way. It was a First Strength of Youth pamphlet. Wow, this told us something about her. Then we reached in for the next item, a little notebook. Surely this would give us answers, but not the kind we were expecting. The first page was a list of favorite scriptures. There were 5 more pages of carefully written scriptures and personal notes. The sisters immediately wanted to meet this stalwart young woman. They returned to that purse to identify its owner. They pulled out some breath mints, soap, lotion, and a brush. I loved their comments. Oh, good things come out of her mouth. She has clean and soft hands, and she takes care of herself. They eagerly awaited the next treasure. Out came a clever little homemade coin purse made from a cardboard juice carton, and there was some money in a zippered pocket. They exclaimed, "Ah, she's creative and prepared." They felt like little children on Christmas morning. What they pulled out next surprised them even more, a recipe for Black Forest chocolate cake and a note to make the cake for a friend's birthday. They almost screamed, "She's a homemaker," thoughtful and service-minded. Then yes, finally some identification. The youth leader said they felt greatly blessed to observe the quiet example of a young lady living the gospel. I've never met this girl, and probably most of you or all of you have never met this girl. But when I think about this girl, I think of a beautiful young woman. I have no idea what she looks like. I don't know the color of her hair. I don't know where she buys her clothes. It doesn't matter. But what I do know about her is she's beautiful. And so where does beauty really come from, or where should it come from? I think the suckers probably made it around. So what I want you guys to do now is open up your suckers. And probably most of you know where this is going now, that you're opening your suckers and you're all chuckling. So yes, we switched the wrappers on these suckers. And back up, they were supposed to be Tootsie Roll suckers. They're supposed to have Tootsie Rolls in the inside. So when I went to the store, I just wasn't thinking, imagine that they're Tootsie Roll suckers. So anyways, my point is this. How many of us sometimes sell ourselves short because maybe we have an orange wrapper and not a red wrapper? What it comes down to, though, is in the inside of the Tootsie Pop is the same thing. It's a sweet Tootsie Roll and that goodness inside. And beauty, as the world defines it, they look at beauty as something on the outside. But really, we know that beauty comes from the inside. There is no workout in the world, no amount of clothes, no amount of friends that can make us more beautiful than something our Heavenly Father's already given us. And that, of course, is our spirit. When I think about beauty and I think about beautiful people, I think of